Okay, hello everyone. Today I'm going to present you my new application for the Android OS. It's called ScreenScroller, and it's created basically to let you control the device with one hand. So, what was the problem? The growing sizes of the screens on mobile devices are making it impossible essentially to reach all the parts of the screen using just one hand. Sometimes with, for example, tablets, it's difficult even with two hands. So let's say the approach to overcome this is actually to use your pointing finger and then just approach from above to the screen and just hit whichever region you like. But this is not very comfortable because during that moment the device has to rest in just one hand. If it's heavy, it can be just tiresome if you need to work for a longer period of time with your device to constantly rely on one hand and on the pointing finger from the other. So optimally, it would be nice just to hold the device in two hands. On the other side, with smaller devices like a mobile phone, it could be nice actually to keep the device in just one hand and then control it just with that hand, as we used to do when we had, for example, physical keyboards on devices. And these, you must obviously remember those times when we had actually this T9 dictionary based or whatever typing stuff on the cell phones, and basically everybody was typing using just their thumbs. So it was so practical, right? And also, for example, with the first generations of even the tactile devices, like the devices with touch screens, it was possible just to keep it basically in your hand and also do everything on the screen with your thumb. And recently, I bought, for example, for myself, a Samsung Galaxy S4, which has a 5-inch screen, and this is, in my opinion, basically the border between being able to control the device with your thumb, holding it in one hand, and not being able to do that. So for me, it is actually on this Galaxy S4, it is already not very pleasant, not very natural to do it with the thumb. And actually to overcome this problem, because I had some particular issues with some particular applications and the repetitive issues of reaching to some element while holding the device in one hand, reaching the element with the thumb. So in order to overcome that, I actually decided to create the application. And the idea was very simple. So I called it ScreenScroller because what it lets you do is actually by starting, let's say, a touch movement from a particular corner of the screen, from a, let's say, hot corner or some kind of activation area. When you begin your drag event there, it lets you actually drag the whole screen into direction opposite to the one in which you move your finger. So it's like really reaching towards the element that you want to touch, but starting in a particular hot corner, let's say. So like this, the regions that you actually want to reach are getting even closer to you, right? And when you release the finger, a tap event is generated, it's emulated or simulated. And over the item that you were pointing at in the scrolled screen, right? So there is like an offset calculated. It actually calculates what is the position in the real screen and generates a tap event in such a place that was actually displayed during this dragging motion under your finger, right? So all in all, what I'm trying to say by this, it lets you actually click remote elements using just your thumb, but starting to reach towards those elements from a hot corner, which is gonna basically to bring those elements right under your thumb. And then you do some kind of fine tuning, right, to pinpoint the element. Then you release your finger, and then a tap event is generated, and voila, you have your click of a really remote element. So let's see it in action. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video presumably even more. So this was done using the screen record tool, and yep, all the steps are basically illustrated. So as you can see, it requires actually root access, and the hot corner is actually the lower left corner. So you can see when you actually click it, it goes red. It then takes a little bit of time to actually grab a screenshot to be able to render then this effect of moving the screen around. So that there is this moment where it's a little bit jerky. There is like a little jump. It's not completely smooth. If you start dragging right after touching the corner, then you will have actually the big offset at some point. So you can overcome this by just waiting a little bit. When you do it very gently from the lower left corner, you will not notice this jerky motion in the beginning. But it doesn't matter. So there is this red indicator in the lower left corner when you touch it. So it lets you know that actually you have been precise enough in touching the corner, right? And then you drag, then the event is generated, and when the event is actually delivered, this red indicator disappears, right? So what you can see here basically is like me interacting with different applications. Well, the pattern is always the same. So there is some element that I want to reach. Like for example, here in the FB reader, what I've been trying to do is, for example, switch to night mode, right? But holding the thing, I'm usually, when I'm reading my books, I'm really holding, believe me, I'm holding my cell phone when I'm reading an ebook on the cell phone in one hand. I mean, come on, I'm not really holding in it two hands. So when I need to read something, I really use one hand. The same goes, for example, actually in the web browser. So whenever you are navigating, whenever I'm just reading something, I'm most of the time using just one hand. And then when I want to reach something on the other side of the screen with that one hand, well, the screen scroller comes in very handy, right? So yeah, what else can we do here? Basically, I mean, this is what the video shows, right? What more can I add from myself? I mean, there are possible improvements to ScreenScroller. I mean, it is relatively robust as it is, but of course, as you've seen, it requires the root access, so it actually requires your phone to be rooted. It would be better if there were APIs that permitted actually this kind of interaction, but there are none at the moment in Android, for example, to get this kind of access to the screen, right? It would be better if such APIs and appropriate permissions were introduced to Android, and if they didn't require, let's say, the application to be a system-level application. Even nicer if Android, let's say, developers consider this improvement kind of worthy of being part of the base Android system. It would be great if they integrated it. I would be willing to let's say, lend a hand to them to explain maybe my idea and show them give them the code that I've created for this standalone application. And going deeper, actually, or going towards this deeper integration with Android would also improve performance. So, for example, because right now I'm actually using this screen cap tool to grab the screenshot and then actually draw it scrolled in the all those different directions. It could be much better if it was just if the scrolling was done just in the surface flinger. If simply what surface flinger outputs to the screen was offsetted appropriately, it would be much faster. There would be basically no delay. This initial delay when the hot corner goes red and then you like wait I don't know, half a second maybe to get the screenshot. This would be not present. It would be immediately responsive with surface flinger. And also, as you have seen, the red corner doesn't disappear immediately after you release your finger, right? So actually this action of generating the simulated event is also taking a little bit of time. It could be improved if I was directly accessing the /dev/input/event some number directly instead of using the input shell command as it is now. The problem with this is, of course, that well, you need to know which device to actually send those events to, right? And I wanted to do it in a kind of portable way, right? I don't want users to have to fine tune it for each particular device to find the names of the devices, right? So this little sacrifice of performance was for the moment worthwhile, but it would be great also if Android possessed an API for actually generating arbitrary events and sending them basically well, to whatever top level activity is there, right? Because right now it is essentially not possible to send this kind of events to other activity than our own. There is the instrumentation API. There's been also something else, I believe. There was like a lot of talk about this inject events permission and so on and so forth. and I really tried it, but it was so unreliable, so clumsy. I don't know. I mean, all these stories with signing the application with the same keys as the system is signed, and so on and so on. Well, this was a nightmare. So I dropped it, and I'm just using the input shell command. A little bit of performance penalty, but not too bad. Not too bad. All in all, it's a very responsive thing. This screen scroller. So then I wanted just to give you towards the end a little bit of details on the demo because I found it amusing how I actually rooted my Galaxy S4, which was running the latest software 442 KitKat. So I actually used the classical thing, the CF auto root, but instead of using Odin like it's normally done, I actually grabbed Heimdall directly, which is basically the software for controlling these for controlling the download mode on the Samsung Android phones. And I didn't want to mess with Mac OS X, which I'm normally using on my laptops. I didn't want to install the Heimdall's KX kernel extension and so on. I'm really not very trustful towards the kernel extensions that are not coming from Apple, and I really don't want to break my laptop, right? Or have any kind of problems or crash it. So I actually grabbed Ubuntu 12.04, a VirtualBox image from VirtualBox Images website, and then I just connected the USB device to that VirtualBox machine, and then I actually used Heimdall from there. So I found it really amusing, but it actually worked surprisingly well. Everything was tip-top. I saw the red Android logo in the modified recovery software and so on and so on, and the routing went smoothly, and I don't mind that the Knox warranty void flag was set or whatever. I don't care. I mean, it's my device. I should be able to do that. I mean, it's my right to install whatever software pleases me. So yeah, but that was basically it. And well, thanks for your attention, and I hope you try ScreenScroller. It should be available anytime soon on my blog here, http alcoholic.eu. So thank you for your attention, and have a nice evening.